Welcome to the Wrestling Philosophy Show, where we discuss unique perspectives and beliefs on the sport of wrestling. Give us a follow or subscribe on various social media platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Enjoy the show.
It's time to start planning for next season's tournaments. Be sure you have Smitty's corner rugs on your mats to protect them and keep them clean. Get a hold of him directly at smitty43952@gmail.com. If you have a tournament, it's the way to go. It creates a custom coach's box so your tournament runs efficiently and keeps the mats clean since they use a top spray MRSA killer.
Man, best thing to do is drop me an email, smitty43952@gmail.com, or you can text me at 740-278-8016. And again, we got inventory, man, and get a quick turnaround time. And our rugs are all top sprayed with our MRSA staph killer that kills coronavirus as well, man. So, you know, we were already keeping it clean, keeping it classy before Corona. Now you really got to have a corner rug, right?
Welcome, Jaggers. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, slick office. Are you at the Jennings?
Yeah. I'm in the office right now. It's just kind of my space right here. I don't know. I can kind of move the camera around a little bit, but actually, I got this guy's in there too.
What's up, buddy?
Steve's hanging in there, but
is he there to block the door? No,
yeah, it's kind of my little backdrop piece that I had made. It's the only piece I was really cared about, the Blocko, and then things are on it that I like, man. Kind of like I don't know, I guess a snapshot of me with some stuff on there, musicians, Cleveland sign, baseball, football, sports I like, Harry Potter.
I know you're Cleveland through and through. What musicians are you?
On here I got Bruce Springsteen, Paul Simon, and Warren Zevon. Wow. Some of my favorite classic rock icons. And then
have you seen Bruce in concert?
My boy Luke, I got him. This was my buddy who made an album, and was pretty passionate about that. He's one of my best friends, so his album's up there too.
Who's that? Luke? What's his last name?
Luke Burkhart.
Okay.
I got to get some new guys on there now. Some kind of pivot and listening to just Americana right now with Bingham and Childers and all those guys. Zach Bryan. So
nice.
Need to upgrade it. This was 2-3 years ago.
Sweet. That's awesome. So let's get into it. Obviously, 2-time national champ for anyone living under a rock or any non-wrestlers that listen, right? Ohio State associate head coach. I asked Logan this question. He had a pretty good answer for it. What's your first wrestling memory? Do you have a first wrestling memory?
Yeah. I think now maybe I don't know if it's actually my memory or just how it's been filled in from people or the story that I've kind of regurgitated many times. But I do remember the first practice. I mean, I was like 5 years old, and my dad had told me we were going to watch my cousin wrestle, my cousin Mark, who was 3 or 4 years older than me. And he was in the Chanel Firebird biddy program, which is where I went to high school eventually. But it was also my program as K through 8 or whatever. And I was 5 years old, and I thought I was going over there to watch him wrestle. And I knew nothing about the sport. I knew WWF, and that was it. Loved the Ultimate Warrior and all those guys. And went in the room and was just sitting on the wall and was watching. And I saw there was kids my size and my age out there. So it's probably part of my dad's master plan. But man comes up, he says, do you want to participate? They're running around doing their calisthenics. So I jumped off the wall, and that man was Graham Coghill, who ended up being my coach for the next 13, 14 years.
Yeah. Influential guy, right? I mean,
yeah,
legend of Chanel in Northeast Ohio.
Right.
Anyone else at the Chanel program that you learned from other than him? Any other influential people that stick out?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I kind of was thinking about it this morning as I drove in. How fortunate I was that I was able to be in the same program for 14, 13 years from, like I said, 5 years old till the graduation of high school. like how many people, like with the same people in the program too, like the same staff for that long, and I think that kind of spoke volumes, like about their loyalty to each other, like, how many rifts there can be and egos, and they all stood together. I mean, Graham Coghill, Tim Rutherford, Ed Govang Jr., my dad, and Larry Vance. I mean, those were like kind of the main five coaches that brought up and coached that, and they coached the high school team every day, and then they would stay Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, coach the youth team, and then on the weekends they'd do both, double duty. So those are like the real heroes, man. Like I said, sometimes I feel like an imposter that like I get to coach wrestling and get paid like well enough to make a living out of it, when the real heroes are those that dedicate their life at the youth and the high school level, when they're not turning over a pretty penny. They're just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So yeah, I love those men forever.
Yeah, that's definitely the exception, right? Having the same group of people. I share the similar situation. It's when you're in it, you don't realize it, right? You're like wow, that's not how it is everywhere, right? It's like,
take some perspective and some age to see how the rest of the world is, to realize how good you had it, and just like I said, how crazy and how much time they put into it, and they were all best friends, and there was, like I said, no ego. It was really spectacular.
yeah. What do you remember about your dad kind of through those years, looking back now, that you didn't realize, perspective?
My dad was awesome. He was consistent. Like he was there. He was always there. Like he always wanted to be around, and he was there. So he was. I mean, we were close too. Like even like, I mean, yeah, your dad's your hero when you're growing up. But then when I got to like a certain age where I was kind of a young adult, young man, we were like best friends. So like there was nothing off the table that we couldn't talk about. He never needed to, like he didn't have to push me. Like that was something that was internal. So I think that made our relationship easy. But we just kind of thought similarly, and we just kind of wanted to crush people. So it was good, man. He was awesome. But he was a good coach too, because like when we got into high school, he didn't really need to spend that much time like with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of knew wrestling pretty well, and other coaches would be ones that would be a little more hands-on with me. So he would attach to some different individuals on the team and have them be like his little project, and he could coach, man, because I know two individuals that hadn't previously qualified for the state tournament that he kind of took under his wing in those seasons. Ended up, he brought them to state championships both individually. So he knew what he was doing.
Nice.
More on this side, I mean, he knew the techniques and stuff, but he just had a way of breaking it down and simplifying it to people that like, what are you scared of? Like, come on, just wrestle. So he was cool.
That's awesome. So you're living it now, right? What, Jed, about 8 years old or so?
Yep. Yeah, my son's 8. He'll be 9 in November, and then I have two little girls. Presley's 4, or I'm sorry, Presley's 7. Lennox is 4. Presley wrestled my middle child. She did about a dozen practices last year.
Oh, sweet.
With in Logan's Stevers Club. So she came around. She likes it. She's cute when she does it. So she's got to learn how to compete a little bit, but she's fun about it.
Yeah. So, right, 8 years old, 9, getting to that pivotal age, right? It's kind of like, all right, we're learning, right? Step it up a little bit more. As dad now, what's your perspective on, not obviously a daughter too, but what's your perspective on how to be dad, how to be coach, right? Because you've seen it through your dad, you've seen it through awesome individuals, but what's your approach, I guess?
Well, obviously I'm going to help him. I'm going to coach him a little bit, and more so from home. But as far as like, I when we go to practice, I don't put shoes on. Like I sit off to the side, and I have a luxury of knowing that he's in great hands. Obviously he was in Stevers Club, and it's like Logan, and he's one of my best friends, and I coached him. So philosophically we're on the same wavelength. And then, Logan was our RTC coach last year. So he was here constantly. So, we were able to talk about practice and what it would look like that day for the youth. But as far as like the actual, conducting the practice, that's Logan can do it. And now that Logan joined our staff, Colin Moore is now the head coach. at Steber Elite, which obviously I know Colin really well. I've known his family forever. So when you trust the people that can run it, you don't have to, which is great, because then I can sit to the side and, talk to the other fathers and be more of a fan. But we don't put, I mean, we don't, I like it, and it's important, and my son works really hard, but we don't wrestle. We wrestle November through March, and that's it. And we play baseball. He plays soccer. He plays flag football. I coach his baseball team. Like wrestling, it's he doesn't. I don't know that he's going to even, that's going to be his thing.
Right.
Right now, he thinks he's going to be in the major leagues. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not one to start specializing the kid at 8 years old just because, he kind of moves like me, and I had a skill set for the sport that means it's going to translate to him. So I think it's important for him to wrestle. And I told him, you're going to wrestle. Like, I know I'd love it for him to be chomping at the bit to go there, but there's just so many lessons and values, and he'll learn to fall in love with it.
Right. So, right, here we are. Season's here, right? For the Buckeyes, right? Let's talk Buckeyes a little bit,
Getting
right?
close.
It's here, right? It's somewhat normal year it's looking like right now, right? I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Obviously there's some interruptions in training for some guys with, as we sort through COVID still and whatnot. But all in all, we're in a much better spot than we were in last year. I mean, we didn't even get to like work out on our campus till probably, I don't know, late October maybe. And then again, there was a lot of interruptions right after Thanksgiving that we had as a team. So, actually being able to have a preseason, which, and coach, that's where a lot of your teaching gets done, preseason. Like, we got, teach some guys some fundamentals and techniques, and give them kind of the blueprint of your program. Because once you start competing, it's
right.
individualized a little more, right? Like, hey, Jared needs this. Let's bring him in, work on finishing. And, this guy, he's got to get better on bottom, man. We got to get more reps in there. And then you have your team practices still. But as far as the like overarching themes for like everybody needs to be able to wrestle from the crackdown, like that gets done in the preseason. So not having that last year, and with a relatively young team, it hurt us.
Right. You still scrap with the guys or what? What's
Yeah, occasionally. I'm not an everyday guy. I can't go every day. I'm 36 now, but I wrestle. If somebody needs a partner, I can get in there. You got to be careful. You got to be careful with some of these studs, though, man. They're getting better, and I'm getting worse. So it can get ugly.
Father time, man. Father time. So you mentioned, right, young team. Who are some of the guys? Obviously, you have the Scarlet and Gray match coming up, but who are some of the guys that I guess have wowed you, right? Because not a traditional year last year. Now you got some, a whole new crop of guys, right?
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys that are kind of sticking out?
Yeah, so we didn't have any seniors really. I mean, we had obviously everybody got their year back last year.
Right.
But we had two seniors, and everybody else would have been returning regardless. So obviously Sasso's probably the leader. He's probably the vocal leader, and then performance leader on the team, being a national finalist, and just the way he wrestles, and his competitiveness is it's incredible. So he's obviously a guy that your eyes tend to go to him towards practice, because what he's doing and the way he can manipulate his body. But I'll tell you who's had a really solid summer and preseason thus far is Tate Orndorff. So he came on late, placed at the national tournament, became an All-American, and his body has changed. Like, I think people will be very happy when they see him at the wrestle-offs. Like, physically, he looks different. He looks more athletic. He's completely bought in to that side of things, and he's competing. He's competing hard at practice. So I'm very excited for him. I'd say, just like you said, off the cuff, like thinking those two guys. But there's a host of others that I could talk about our guys. I can go through each one and talk for 10 minutes on each one. I love them all, and they're doing a good job. But for sake of time, I'd say those two.
Right. Something I was wanted to ask, and I was talking to someone on this. What Karchla's knee, right? He didn't have the surgery, right, on the ACL. Is that? I've never heard of something like that. Is that?
Yeah, I mean,
Allowed to talk about
he's,
that? Or I just
I think
that's
he's
totally
talked
foreign.
about his injury. Yeah, he's good to go. He's good to go. We'll leave it at that. He's ready
Okay.
to go. He looks strong. I mean, he can wrestle. He's just a very, obviously his dad is an awesome wrestler,
Right.
and a great coach, but he's such a pure wrestler. Understands positions very well. Great finisher. Strong. I mean, we've been waiting to see him, unleash him for a while. And last year, unfortunately he was injured, so it delayed the process. But yeah, people are going to be happy when they see him wrestle.
Yeah, I just never heard that. I've never had knee issues, so it's totally foreign to me. But then I guess that's like the new thing or something. I don't know. It's just
We'll
totally
leave it to
crazy.
the doctors, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do, right? So, coming up, right? Scarlet and Gray, you got the coaches clinic, October 28th, 29th. Kind of like kicks off, right, the season in a way, right? As far as, publicly, right?
Yeah.
What are you guys looking forward to that? I guess there's some matchups that you're looking forward to, or
Yeah, I mean, just like anything, right? Like last year, there was such an interruption into our normal process that we're just excited to have, the Coaches Association. We've been partnering with them and working with Sean Andrews to make sure that any requests on their end. So we just want it to be a great event. Like obviously for the coaches that decide to come, and then sprinkling in the wrestle-offs. That's a nice little cherry on top, I think, for the coaches to see our team in action for the first time. And I'm intrigued too. Like I want to see some guys that redshirted or I guess nobody redshirted, but didn't get as many opportunities to compete last year that were young. I want to see how our depth chart shakes out, at the end of it. And then we have some competitive weight classes that I don't know who's going to be the starter. So yeah, man, it's super interesting. The 28th and 29th can't come soon enough.
and that's going to be in the Cavelli, right? It's usually used to be in the field house, right? Now it's going to be.
Yeah, no, it's all in-house here in our facility. So the Jennings practice facility where our offices are and our wrestling room is connected to the Cavelli.
So is that open to public, or how's that, working? I mean, obviously it's part of the coaches clinic, but anyone off the street can walk in and watch, or how's that work?
Yep, I think that's the plan right now. Obviously,
As of today, right?
You don't lock yourself in anything nowadays. You write everything in pencil, not pen. But yeah, that's the plan. Get that out, and then also season tickets. We just got our competition schedule, our conference schedule given to us last week. So we're trying to add a date to like finalize it. I don't know if we'll be successful in that because there's a week
out of conference home duel you're looking at.
Our out of conference schedule, like November, December was good. We're done with that. And then we got our Big Ten schedule, which is 8 dual meets. But then the way it kind of lined up, there's a weekend off. Right? Well, I think it's Indiana was the last dual, and then there was a 3-week break between our last dual and Big Tens. And I don't want that. I want a 2-week break between the last duel. So we're trying to find another duel in there that we could get in that last weekend right after the final, just so our guys don't have a 3-week delay. I don't want any rust. So I don't know if we'll be able to find that. A lot of people are pretty locked in their schedules, so it might just be is what it is. So, but as soon as it's finalized, we'll get the full schedule graphic going out to the people, and then we'll roll out season tickets because I know people are excited about that.
Right. You got Iowa and Michigan at home this year. Is that right?
Correct. Within conference, yeah. Who else? I think Maryland and Indiana. Those are our four conference duels that are at home, and then non-conference we'll have North Carolina, Pittsburgh, and then Notre Dame College.
Oh, wow.
So we'll have seven home duels.
Nice. So they're all in that Cavelli then? I know you used to do some at the Shot.
We are going to look at, we're exploring putting one of them at the Schottenstein Center. Yep.
Nice. That's awesome. So obviously lots changed, not only due to COVID, but NIL, right? How's that impacting you guys at all?
I mean, guys, I think the kids are happier. I mean, some guys can profit off of, their name, image, and likeness now, and um, you know, we're not as we're not allowed to be as involved like as people would think, like as a staff. Like I can't run back channels for a kid to get a an apparel deal like that. That's illegal. So any deals that anybody has, they kind of work it through with compliance and get it approved, and they're good to go. I think you're seeing a lot of more like free services, stuff like that, like restaurants, and so is getting free smoothies at wherever, for Instagram posts and whatnot. But I think it's an exciting thing for the student athletes, and probably something that was long overdue. I mean, there's no reason why somebody shouldn't be able to profit off of what they're able to, what their fair market value is.
If you were wrestling today, who would you be your sponsor? Who'd you go after?
Sponsor.
Or who would you be your partner?
Oh, I don't remember back in the day. It'd be like Ed Hardy, Von Dutch, all those things. Affliction. It's probably a tanning discount.
Yeah, I
Back
was
in
gonna
the
say
day.
you gotta have a tanning
Big-
sponsor, right?
Yeah,
The whole
right.
team would have been
We're talking 2009, not current. Current
right.
current Jay wouldn't really care. So, lots changed.
No, that's funny. That's it's crazy how fast, right? Too. I mean, I guess that shows our age, I guess, a little bit, but it's
Yeah, yeah. I'm going on my 13th season now coaching. So yeah, that sometimes when I count the seasons up, I have to go back and do the math. I'm
yeah,
like, I'm on year 13 already. Like,
six as associate head coach. Is that right?
I
Something
don't
like
know.
that. Give or
Sounds
take.
good. Sounds good. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, what year did I actually start, and
Right.
what year is this? So, um, you also have what the prospect camp, but you know, a
Yeah.
weekend or so.
That's not this weekend. Next weekend. This will be our second one. I thought the first one went well. It's a very fair price point. Very very affordable for guys to come in, and you know, I told the first camp, listen, whether you were invited here or you got caught wind of it and you got here, it's just an opportunity to get in front of coaches. And we've had this happen to recruits where they come in for summer camp, and I didn't know who they were, and then they wrestled hard, they competed hard, their attitude was great, and the next thing you know, we have them on our team, right? So there was, there's some high profile guys that come through, but then also some guys that maybe their season was canceled in 2020, and then they were hurt in 21, or they didn't perform as well at the state tournament. They're still trying to kind of make their mark on the sport. Just a great opportunity. So it was great. It was awesome, and there were some high level guys there to work with, so it was fun.
So what are the ages? Sounds like something you're going to be doing, right? A couple
Yeah,
times a year,
mostly high
right?
school guys. Yeah, it's mostly high school guys. So
Right.
yeah, it's an ID camp. It's an ID camp. It's like football's been doing it for decades.
Right. The
Trying
model's there, right?
to
It's nothing.
identify who can play.
So I guess, obviously you guys are kind of the exception, right? Ohio State, but anything you see in recruiting, and this might be a question for Anthony, but kind of that parents miss out, right? It might be the first generation kid going through college that they should have been doing this as a freshman, sophomore, and like now they are, junior, senior. It's probably an exception because you guys are Ohio State, but in the landscape of college athletics, some of these parents are oblivious, right? But any kind of process issues that you see that parents, man, I should have been doing this 2 years ago for my son or daughter.
Yeah, there's a lot there, a lot of different directions I could go. I would say, all you got to know, like whether or not, just not like 5-star. Like if your kid's a 5-star recruit and they're placing at Fargo and they're in the finals of Super 32, it's going to happen organically. Coaches are going to get your number. You're going to be fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if maybe that's not you, and maybe you cannot be afraid to reach out to coaches. Like, we've had, like I said, we've had people that walked onto our team or got recruited to our team that, you know, I hadn't seen them wrestle. Like, I don't follow that state tournament that closely, even though you won it 3 times. I didn't see you in Fargo because maybe you played football. Right. And then like, yeah, we look at rankings, of course. Like, I mean, it's a great barometer. A lot of people now are smart and they spend a lot of time, crunching the numbers, and they know who's who. And so, you look at rankings and then you see kids compete. But, for that next tier of guys, you can't be afraid to do your own recruiting a little bit, and you can't assume that, oh, just because the school that you like didn't call you, that they're not interested. They might be totally interested, but they may think they don't have a chance at you because of this, or your brother went to Kent, so we just assumed he was going to go there. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't assume anything in the recruiting. So we gotta, that's what Coach Ralph does a good job. He does his homework and makes sure that we cast a large net to make sure that, if there might be a kid from Texas who's a diehard Buckeye fan, right? You don't know that. You don't know if he's not. So, but then things to keep in mind as well. I think there's just some traps. There are some traps in recruiting that parents should be aware of. Don't confuse. I say this all the time. Like, I say this in the front end when we're recruiting somebody, and just don't confuse somebody's willingness to operate in the gray area for that they're going to care for your son more. You know what I mean? Because I know I won't. So like, that's, and I'll go on record, like I will not compromise who I am or who I think this program is to land a recruit. I just won't do it. And if that's something that's important to you, like, it's not happening.
Place, right?
Right. So, but people get flattered easily, and oh, that coach was willing to work out with me here. He wants me more. That's not true. I want you just as bad.
Right.
So, yeah, that's just traps. Beware of the traps.
Goes back to the ego thing too, right? Is feel they need to love a little more from this and that. It's like, no, you gotta do what's best for you and best for the program, right? Logan's still sitting over there?
He's over here. He's on his phone.
Yeah. So what's how excited is he that Hunter's coming back to Ohio?
You want to pop in here?
I'll pop in. What's up,
Big
Jerry?
man. Yeah, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We actually we picked him up from the airport last night. He selling his car in Oklahoma, so my wife drove him. Bought a car actually off a kid we used to wrestle in our club, Mark Costello. I don't know if you remember.
He's a St. Mary's guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah, so he sold Hunter his car, and
wow.
and he's coming back now, and then he's going either today or tomorrow, and they're gonna do a bunch of things and paperwork and practice, and he's looking for apartments and everything. Yeah, so he's super excited, and I'm really excited. He's gonna be an hour 10 minutes away, and
right.
You won't even talk to him.
It's a good chance. Yeah, a good chance for him. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Just more family time at the holidays, right? Less travel for him, right? Gives him a reason, no excuse not to come home.
Exactly. And now he's an hour away, so now it's easy. I'm in the center, so they can everybody come to me. Works well. So yeah, we're really excited.
Cool, man. No, that's awesome. I know everyone, high wrestling fans, right? How can they not be excited about that, right?
Yeah, it should be good.
So cool, man. No, thanks. Anything else you got, Jay?
Done, Stever. Hijack. No, man. No, I just, I'm grateful. Just grateful for Buckeye Nation, and people's even when there's critique and people aren't happy about performance, just know that we live this. So if they're not happy with the way something looks, obviously we aren't as a staff, but we are grateful because that means people care. And without people caring, none of us have jobs and able to do what we do. And so we're trying our hardest. We want to win. We're gonna we're gonna get back into the space where we belong real soon.
That's awesome. No, I'm excited for you guys. Obviously, Logan being on staff too. Not to hijack your interview again with Logan.
Like baby brother, man. I'd love
Yeah.
like I couldn't be happier. I get to hang with one of my best friends every day and brainstorm and try to get good at this. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing what's going on this year, and I'm sure we'll cross paths, right?
Yeah, come on through.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
Recruiting-accelerator.com.
That's correct. Recruiting-accelerator.com. When you go to store, you can check out and enter the code wrestling philosophy for $100 off.
Thank you, Coach.